Howdy there, folks. It's Geist, and in today's video, we're going to be going just a little bit crazy, or at least some of you might think I am by the end of it, but that's okay. This is all for fun. So this video started out as kind of a sort of a Monarque secret buff video, like, oh my gosh, something happened to it, and then I started to compile a few other things. And the more I kind of went down the rabbit hole, the more I found and the more realizations I had, and again, maybe it's all just going to sound crazy, but I am convinced that somebody at Bungie secretly likes bows. There's at least one person there, one dev still standing that likes them. Maybe there's a couple of them, maybe it's a few of them, I don't know. You know, it's just more fun to think that there's some sort of lone wolf out there that secretly, you know, doesn't want us to feel so downtrodden, and they're trying to feed us as many little crumbs as they can just to, in the meantime, to try to tide us over it until hopefully Bungie inevitably does something to them. Who is this person? I don't know. Are they the hero that we need? Who knows? Anyways, jokes aside, there definitely have been some strange things that have been happening with bows, and I'm going to tackle a few of those and why I think that it's possible that somebody's been tweaking them behind the scenes, and that maybe, just maybe, there's a big bow buff on the horizon, and I'm really hoping that that's the case, but we're going to get into that. So starting off, a while back, don't ask me timelines here because I'm kind of reaching on some of these, but a few months back here, it all started with a little bow called Vengeful Whisper. And that bow wasn't really that great. Nobody really cared about it, blah, 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 whatever. And then all of a sudden, we noticed that sundering changed. And, you know, this happened... a buddy of mine, Ettercap, you know, he gets props for this. He's the one that told me that something had happened to it, and he was like, hey, they changed sundering. I was like, okay, cool. Well, they changed the origin perk. What does that matter? It made it so that it was essentially like an Archer's Gambit light, and it was just for hitting a headshot, as long as you break shields. So as long as you break shields, it dramatically sped up the draw speed, as well as increasing the reload speed. And it was like a miniature Archer's Gambit. And I was like, okay, well, that's actually pretty cool. Now, it didn't work on all resiliences at the time. Since, you know, we got that minor bow buff, it was like just a teeny little bit to precisions. But that was enough to make it so that as long as you're landing a perfectly drawn shot on that first shot, now sundering will work on all resiliences, all the way up to tier 10. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. So now Vengeful Whisper is one of the best feeling precisions in the game because of that. But it didn't stop there. Recently, a few more things have kind of come to light. I started playing around with Monarque the other day just for the heck of it, and you're going to see that in some of this random gameplay here, me just playing around with it. But I was messing around with it in a private match, and I was like, wait a minute, why did you just die? I shot somebody that had a little bit more resilience than what it was killing before. Now, I could be wrong on this, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I seem to remember that Monarque was killing somewhere around, like, I think 5 or 4 resilience and lower. With one head, one body. Now, that of course required the poison to take effect too, so you needed 2 perfectly drawn shots. However, currently right now, Monarque is dealing around 238 damage, which 238 damage should be enough to kill any Guardian, including tier 10 resilience, because if I'm not wrong, it's like 230 for max health at tier 10 resilience. But for whatever reason, it's not. However, it is killing tier 9 and below. Tier 9 and below is dramatically better than what it was previously. I swear it was like tier 5 and below. Tier 9 and below is great. And now a lot of people have been telling me, hey, you know, that's just because the recent buffs that they did to bow, Monarque accidentally got affected, this wasn't intended, blah, 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 blah. You know, Monarque was specifically left out. But if that's the case, if it was just a bug, then why is 238 damage not killing? It almost more feels like they're like, okay, well, whoever's doing this, let's go ahead and just set it to 238 or whatever. We can set it to this percentage. Okay, well, it'll kill everything, but just check this little box that says it can't kill tier 10. Even though the numbers state that it probably should be able to, it doesn't matter. It's not going to kill them. And maybe my math is wrong, but I don't know. I don't think it is. And I've been looking at those numbers, and I'm pretty sure it adds up to over 230, which should kill tier 10, but it doesn't. So it kind of just feels like they... We're like, okay, well, let's give them a little bit more. You know, the Vengeful Whisper's there, but, you know, nobody's talking about it, nobody's using it, other than, you know, me, and I have 1,200 subscribers, so nobody's paying attention to me and my crazy butt, but whatever. We'll set it to tier 9 and below, and nobody will notice because it's not killing tier 10. All the people that are running tier 10, that have been running tier 10, they're not going to notice the difference, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. This all sounds kind of crazy, but it just seems very odd that all of a sudden this is doing this, and then even though the numbers say it should actually be killing all resiliences, it's still not. It just feels like somebody's just messing with stuff. And it goes even further than that. So the next one is Wishender. Y'all know that I love Wishender. I've loved that bow for a very long time. It's a great bow, but Wishender got nerfed 2 or 3, really 4 times lately. It got the double damage nerf that all the rest of bows got, and then the wall hacks got nerfed, and then the damage got nerfed again. Well, the damage I don't think has really changed. You still kind of need 2 headshots to kill all resiliences, unless somebody is 5 resilience or below, then it will 1 head, 1 body. But that's not what we're talking about. It's not the damage. It's the wall hack perk. Now, previously, Bungie stated that they nerfed it so that in order to proc the wall perks, again, it's going to run out. Whenever you come to a full draw, you'll get the wall hacks for a little bit, and then after, I think, just a few seconds, it goes away. And in order to reproc that, or to get the wall hacks back, you would have to fully redraw the bow again. And when I tested it previously, it seemed to be the case. It seemed like you had to redraw it. Here lately, when I've been playing around with it, you can just indefinitely keep the wall hacks up again. And I may do a little video with more of a guide of that later if people want to know, but I also may keep it to myself because Wishender is my baby and I'm tired of seeing it get hammered into the dirt. But nonetheless, if you time your draw cancel, so you can't just do the instant draw cancel like you see me and some other people doing, where you let go of your reload there, and let go of your draw and then tap the reload and then immediately draw again, and it'll sort of just do like a little and it looks like the bow hesitates. That instant redraw, you can't do that with it. But if you are holding full draw on Wishender and you hit the reload button while letting go of your draw button, your fire button, and you see that little light bar on Wishender start to dim down. It's not quite at the halfway mark. It's actually more at like the 1/3 mark of that little light bar on Wishender. If you let it get to that point and then immediately redraw it again, it'll go back to full draw without having to fully draw, and at every point during that, the wall hacks stay active. They flicker for maybe like a fraction of a second, but effectively you can still have wall hacks up 99% of the time. So for those of you out there that are able to explore this and master this, Wishender basically didn't get a nerf. And I swear, when I played around with it after the nerf, it wasn't like that. I swear you had to fully redraw it, and maybe I didn't try what I was doing right now, but I remember that. I'm pretty sure that I did. So this stuff starts to add up. And it all culminates in the final point that I have, which is the recent TWAB. Now, in this TWAB, Bungie gave us a chart, which you're going to see right here. And they showed us all these weapons and how I was like, oh, well, they look like crap. Some of them, and then some of them look great. This is a chart of what their usage is. And if you look on this chart, there's a very common, obvious thing, and that's that bows are at the bottom. You've got sort of a little group of 3 here at the very top. You've got a group of 3 that are kind of roughly around the middle, and then you've got one at the bottom, which is bows. And bows just look like absolute crap. They are the lowest. You've got like a negative chance to get kills if you try using them. At least that's what Bungie's numbers say. But then when we look at their patch notes here, they didn't say anything about that. They didn't even mention bows. They didn't even bring it up. And I find that just so strange. Like, you've got this obvious outlier that's at the bottom, and why are you guys not doing anything about it? Why are you not saying anything about it? But they said they're going to do, or at least they're going to talk about, more weapon changes next week. I think that Bungie is about to announce a big bow rework. I think they're going to change as we know it. I think that they're no longer going to operate exactly the same because, frankly, they can't. They've always walked the line between being really, really overpowered and not. I would say that they've never really been that overpowered, but in the right hands they can be. They can be annoying to play against. But the bottom line is they don't fit. They do not fit with other primaries, and they never have. They have always been a complete outlier, and I think this graph proves that. And frankly, if we looked at older graphs, even when they were at their peak usage at 5%, I think we would still clearly see that they were lower than all the other weapons. Because they were. We didn't have the same graph from Bungie, but I can promise you they were. They've never really fit. They've always been out of place, but they've always been a fun weapon. And regardless of how you feel about them, even if you hate them, there's a lot of us that don't, and I think they deserve a place in the game. I think that Bungie is going to do something to change them fairly dramatically. They've already nerfed them harder than they have any other primary ever, as far as I can recollect. And I'm kind of hoping that they're about to get a major rework, a little more so than anything else is seen. I think they need it. I'm hoping that's what's going to be detailed in the next swap. And now maybe a lot of this is just blind hope because I'm tired of kind of being the underdog. I mean, we were always kind of the underdog, but now it's just bad. It's not even like you're flexing and showing how skilled you are for using this weapon. It's like you're intentionally handicapping yourself and just hoping that you'll have enough skill to still pull through despite all that. But anyways, that's the end of the rant. I think there's definitely a lot of little odd happenings here, and this started out as one thing, but I just kind of wanted to compile them all. I think a big change is around the corner. I think something major for bows is on the horizon, and I honestly hope that I'm right. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and as always, it's been fun talking to y'all. I hope you have a wonderful evening.